Hello, this is Alan here, and welcome to Exam Tips. In this session, we're going to look at proven tips for writing any test or exam. Under stress, the body releases an hormone called cortisol. Cortisol can also inhibit memory recall. So after a stressful incident, cortisol may reach a level that impacts the memory performance after about 30 minutes. And then it takes a few hours for the effect to wear off. This is why staying relaxed before and during the exam is so important, because it is how you react to the incident during that time that can make the release of the cortisol affect you or not. So if you make a mistake at the start of the exam, take a moment to relax and ensure that you don't let your stress response go too far. Because if you let that mistake stress you too far, your cortisol rises, and 30 minutes later, 20 to 30 minutes later, you'll find it harder to remember what you already know. So this is kind of a vicious cycle. So if you stress out on your way to the exam or at the beginning of the exam, you got a 20-minute there where you're going to have that cortisol just kick right in and start making you forget things. Okay? Now, that's not to say that nothing's going to happen on the exam. It's just how you react to it. If you stress out too much about it, this is a chemical reaction. Another chemical that's being released when a stressful situation happens is adrenaline. Adrenaline increases the heart rate and respiration. It sends out more blood to the skeletal muscle and it dulls pain. It stimulates the immune system and then turns sugar into fat into energy. Now this is good, because this is a normal reaction for the body and the mind, and that's required in times of danger, but only for a limited time. After the stressful situation is past, the body must be allowed to return to the normal, non-stress state. Okay? So, dealing with stress for too long or too often can have ill effects on the body and the brain. Okay? Sustained abuse, combat, illness, pressures, anger-producing situation can damage and shrink even certain brain areas, especially the hippocampus, small area of the brain. And a major role of the hippocampus of the brain is for memory and learning. So you can see where this stress there, unmanaged and too often, can really cause you to experience forgetfulness or difficulty in learning. And study also show that part of the brain, such as the hippocampus, it can recover once the stress response is reversed. So and stress will happen, but the hippocampus is in charge of the memory and learning. But there's a plasticity to the brain. It's proven. The research shows that the brain will fix itself. Okay? Another thing I want to talk about is the brain drain, and not the one where people are moving out of the country to go work in another country. That's not the brain drain I'm talking about. Prolonged mental activities without breaks can literally drain your brain. Okay? Of the two key materials needed for learning and recall. These materials are neurotransmitters and glucose. So you need to take this cycle into account when planning breaks during study. I'm going to show you a little bit. This map that you see there is called the 90 minutes ultradian, ultradian rhythm. Okay? Maybe you've not heard of that, but it's quite well known in learning psychology as well as in neuroscience. The 90-minute ultradian rhythm also affects your learning performance. Essentially, the brain works on a 90-minute cycle of alertness and rest. So you want to match that with breaks and recall. Okay? If you feel alert, you will feel alert for about 70 minutes, and then your alertness drops for about 20 minutes. That's a natural cycle that forces your brain, the ultradian rhythm. So in studying, in preparing for the exam, consider taking a short break when you feel the first wave of tiredness wash over you. For example, at the first time your eyelids drop, maybe do a relaxation exercise. Take a short break. Don't try to force it through. Try to keep your lessons or continued mental activity to within 70 to 80 minutes period. I personally promote 50 minutes. 50 minutes, 10-minute break. 50 minutes, 10-minute break. So it kind of breaks your day into 5 or 6, 7 sessions of work cycles. And I find that works quite well, and it's easy to time it out. On 10 on the hour, I'm taking a break. So it's kind of helping it out. Another thing is breathing. Breathing we all do all our life. I mean, this is kind of sounds funny, but that's really something we don't think about. You're going to die if you're not breathing. It's a reflex action done by our body to provide the flow of oxygen around the body, the muscles, the vital organs, the brain, okay? Wikipedia talks about the human breathing is typically between 10 to 20 times per minute. And children much faster than adults. Their breathing is much faster. Babies may go even as much as 40 times per minute. An adult will breathe in about half to 750 millimeter of 500 to 750 millimeter of air at a time. So half to 3/4 of a liter of air in one breath. So an average 14-year-old will take about 30,000 breaths a day. So, but you can control some of your breathing. Some of it we can control. And we can be more relaxed by breathing in and out deeply. So the more we allow our body to be filled with by deep breathing, lots of air coming in, the less stress we place on our mind and body. Okay? So what we need to do is practice controlled breathing. Deep and controlled breathing. And the more we practice that, the more it becomes natural, and we can call on that technique that we've learned any time of the day to help us through the tired or stressed out moment. So the breathing really helps, a deep and controlled. So with all the things we have to go through, either we feel stressed out at work or at the end of a long day and you can't sleep, we just want a few minutes for ourselves. Well, you'll find this controlled and deep breathing even for only a few minutes. Maybe it's in the car before you go into the house. Maybe it's in the car before you go to work. Whatever stresses you, just do a simple breathing technique. That could be very, very beneficial. What does it do for the exam? Well, that's the same thing. Just before you get out of the car or before you walk into the building for the exam, take a few deep breaths. We'll talk about that a little bit more. So here's some breathing techniques you can practice on. And I'll try to include some videos as well on the website that explains to you some of those relaxation techniques that apply to breathing. So here's some steps you can do in a breathing exercise. First of all, find a comfortable position. You can lie down, sit down, or stand up as long as you're comfortable. Breathe in slowly through your nose to the count of 4. In as you count to 4 in your mind. And then breathe very deep until all your body feels expanded, like all your chest cavity feels expanded. Hold on to that breath for about 4 seconds. 4 counts. Okay, deep, deep, deep. Then inhale it. Inhale slowly through the mouth to the count of 8. Okay, exhale, sorry. So first you lie down very comfortable, breathe in really slowly to the count of 4 until you're full, and then hold it for 4 counts again, and then exhale through the mouth to the count of 8. Blow out all the air, and then repeat and write down, and then repeat again, and then you can, so that your tummy expands. So first through the chest, in, then in more, hold it, exhale really slowly, then do the same thing through the chest first, then up into the tummy, hold it, And then do that like 8 or 9 times. Okay? Hold it. You can breathe deeper once you get used to the above steps by leaving one hand on your stomach and place the other lightly across your chest. What happens then when you're breathing down, you're feeling which one is going up. And then you want to make sure that you breathe down so your tummy as well expands. And then when you think you can't take in more air, try to do one more little gulp of air. And that really helps to make sure you've got it all in. And inhaling and exhaling at the same length, each count each time, is a good way to do it too, so you don't hold in between. And when you exhale, let the air out from your chest, then from your tummy. Okay, so repeat that one. Hold on that deep breath for 4 seconds first, and then exhale through the mouth, and then out 8. And then after that, as you're doing more of it, and you're exhaling 9 times of that, and then after that, you do it regularly, so it's the same speed going in, same speed going out. Like I said, it's pretty hard to just hearing me say it and figuring out maybe exactly what I'm saying here, but I'll introduce some videos, I think, on the website to show you how to do that. So, in, 2, 3, 4, hold it, 2, 3, 4, blow it out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and periodically, just keep on doing it 4 times, 8 times if you can. Okay, so just try it. In, all the way in, 2, 3, 4, hold it, 2, 3, 4, blow it out through the mouth, way out, and then do that. Okay, it says 2, 4 times here. I suggest 8 or 9 times. Okay. Pre-test strategy. Now let's put all of this together at the test time. Okay, what you want to do with the pre-test, you want to make sure that you stay away from stress, your diet and your caffeine, your relaxation, and control the fear. Okay. Another test, and we're going to talk more about this one in the next show, in the next session. When you're answering the test, go with the best answer. Don't try to overanalyze the question in the test. Do your first easy question first. Like, go through the question, pre-read them, and pick the easy one. Go through them. Okay? If you find something tough, maybe pass it. You want to make sure you got enough time. The other thing is you want to recycle through the test. Go back and look at the one you missed. If you're on a multiple choice test and you can't circle in a question on the paper, on the question, if you can't circle the one you're skipping, so you make sure you don't miss it. And pace yourself. If the exam is 100 question, it's 90 minutes, then you know that at 45 minutes into the question, into the exam, you need to be at question 50. Now, if you're 49 or 45 or 52 or 53, you're still pretty close. But if you're way up there at 70, then you way too fast. And if you're at 35, then you need to pick up the pace a little bit, because you're going to end up with unanswered questions. Okay? Read the question and find out the context. What is this talking about? What is the question talking about? What is the context? Try to answer the question without looking at the answer, especially on the multiple choice. So position yourself. Is the question talking about this topic? In the case of insurance, is this talking about the insurer or the insured? Is it talking about the investor or the investment company? Like, what is it talking about? Is it talking about a specific area of what you've studied about? Like, where is the question located? Like a kind of a positioning yourself, kind of a geography of the question. Where is it in the material? Where did you see it? And mark it up. If you can, mark up, like underline the keywords in the question. If you can't mark it up, write it down on paper on your paper what you can, like, what is the key point? Are there numbers? Are there going to be some math to do, some formula to apply? Write it down as you go through. And then pre-answer. Without looking at the answers that are there, see if you can figure out the answer prior to look at those that are available. This way, when you look at the answers, if in a multiple choice question, they may have two answers that look kind of the same. This way, if you pre-answer, you'll be more ready or readier to go through the different options and pick the right one. Okay? So, first, always try to choose the best answer. Okay, there are 4 or 5 answers option, but there's only one that's the best answer. Easy one first. Yeah, walk through it. Like, if there's an easy one to answer, answer it. If there's a tough one, put it aside. Like, recycle it and come back through it after. Pace yourself. Read the question. What's the context? Mark up. Circle words or put them in a note on your notepad if you can't write on the exam itself. And then try to pre-answer it before you look at the answer sheet. And finally, read all the choices. Many people jump to the first one that looks good. Watch for similar pairs. Okay? Are there 2 pairs that look like the same? What's different between the 2? What word is different? What words are different between the pairs? That could be leading you into the right answer. However, be careful. If you didn't pre-answer, you may be trapped by the similar pairs. It could be a similar pairs there that are both wrong. So watch for that. And the risk of changing answers. Don't change answer. Most people that change answer, they change for the wrong answer. Don't change it unless you are 100%, not 99, 100% sure. Maybe you went to a few questions further down the test and you realize, oh yeah, I got that turned around. Go check it out. Yeah, maybe. But usually if you change the answer, you're going to be changing for the wrong one. And if you don't know the answer, remember, you don't want to stress over it. Right? You got 100 questions, you got 1 wrong, you still got 99. You're plenty good. Don't stress over it. Make an educated guess. Okay? And good enough. 99% is good enough. Right? So, if you need 70% to pass, you've got 30 questions you can do wrong. Now, I'm not saying to be flippant and not care about the answer. What I'm saying here is don't stress so much over each one of them. Just do your best, you know your stuff, and then good enough. Pick the pick the educated guess if you don't know the answer, and just that's good enough. You'll have missed only one. And avoid cramming the night before. You get a good night's sleep. A crash study at night may have worked in college and high school, but it does not work as an adult learner. And keep your morning routine. If you're not used to have a breakfast in the morning, the day of an exam, especially if the exam is in the morning, is not the time for you to stop by Denny's or big restaurant and have a huge breakfast, the cowboy trucker special. That's not. If you never take a breakfast, that's not the day to have it. You're going to be sitting in that chair for 1.5 hours, for 90 minutes, and more in some of the other tests. The written tests in the insurance industry and the financial could be 2-3 hours of written tests. You don't want to have to go to the bathroom in the middle because they won't let you. You can't come back in most of the time. So you don't want to have a stomach that's fighting you out saying, whoa, what did you give me today? Keep your morning routine. Okay? So go back to this video. Look at the steps. There are many of them are common sense. Again, do some research on relaxation. Do some research on fighting stress as well as breathing techniques. They do work. I've done decades of martial art, and that's one of the key things you do in martial art as well. You learn to relax on the moment. You need sometimes to just do a couple of good, deep, solid breath before you get into a match. Well, you do the same thing with an exam. Just before you sit down, you get your pencils, you get your pen, you get your paper, you get everything you need, and then you just relax, and then you start. Then you flip the paper over and you start your test. Don't get into a panic. Thank you, and we'll talk to you on the next session.